Today we're going to talk about how tape.
It's going real good.
Hold on. Good morrow and welcome to our channel. Today we're going to talk about how playing TTRPGs or tabletop role-playing games with our spouses has made our lives better, and just some of the positives about playing together. But before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode.
Because we're a delight.
We are a delight. One of the things that we do when we're playing TTRPGs together is, like, for instance, Dungeons and Dragons. We text each other all day long in a chat that we have on text, which is super fun because, first of all, we just talk to each other all day anyway. But then we'll like role play as our characters, which is really fun, and to like keep it going and to like have things to look forward to in the weekend, which I love.
think it's a fun way also, like you and I have talked about this before, but like some of us haven't, I'm not going to say some of us, one of us, my husband Jason, doesn't have a theater background like the rest of us do, so it's harder for him to jump into RP sometimes when we're playing and like improv on the spot and also warm up into that. Yeah. And when we're able to do like these little texting conversations, I feel like we all are a little bit more warmed up, and it's not recalling from last session, well, who am I mad at? Or like,
yes,
do I care anymore? You know, all of those things. I like texting throughout the week. I think that's one that's really fun, but I also think just like it's funny, you're talking about like the ways it's improved your relationship. I've also, like, I'm not saying it's bad for your relationship, but there have definitely been times where I've been like D&D conspiracy spiraling.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sitting here, I'm talking to my husband, and he's like, I don't care anymore. I hope your character dies. Like, I hope everybody dies.
Oh no.
And we never find out what this story is if you just stop talking.
So I guess that could be like a bad thing if like you have like you're in a disagreement or an argument, and then you start talking about each other's characters, and like, wow.
But that's never happened to us, honestly. Yeah. We've gotten in an argument about like the right thing to do in a game, like not in game, but like during the week, where I'm like, no, I think that's a bad idea. And Jason's like, no, it's a great idea. I'm like, no, that's stupid. Don't do that. Please don't do that.
Then he did.
Yeah, and then he did it, and it was a good idea. But don't tell him that.
No, he'll never see this episode. Jay, you're not allowed to watch this episode.
He doesn't watch our channel at all.
Wow.
He absolutely does.
Yeah.
But I think it's just a fun thing to do together. It's a fun way to like build more intimacy and to like build more skills. Because I think one thing that we're learning as a group too is the level of vulnerability it takes to RP well.
Totally.
Because like if you think back to our first campaign, it was just us four. We were having so much fun together, but we'd been best friends for so long that I feel like we all intuitively knew what the other person was trying to achieve, and it was so much easier to yes and, or play off of one another. But then a couple things happened. We moved to virtual because y'all moved away from me, which was rude. And then, and then also we had a new friend come join us.
We did.
So we just weren't complete in the first campaign. But then we all had to like relearn each other.
Yeah.
And there's been some definite growing pains along that way. And I think what we're seeing in this campaign is we're starting to re-understand each other and get to that level, because I think we're all getting a little bit more comfortable with making riskier choices in RP, or like, I'm saying risky. I mean, we don't do like
risky. Well, I mean, like, no, I get it, because I think we've touched briefly on this on one of our other episodes, where there's a little bit of you in every character, or vice versa. And it can be, sometimes it has been in the past tricky keeping our character and like our own personal self like separate when we're texting. And
sure.
So I think, I don't know, maybe I'm not on the same wavelength of what you're trying to say, but like risky in the sense for me of like when we're texting like in chat as our characters, and I'm like, ooh, Jacqueline's gonna be all bullied and say this, and like it could cause drama, but like knowing like, okay, this character over here knows that it's just my character and it's not gonna actually upset you. That's how I took it. But if that's
no, so that's what I'm meaning. Like, I think Chris said it really well. Like, oh, that's our DM. If you're new, that's our DM, and it's Katie's husband, and he's, you know, he's all things wonderful, and he was he said something a couple of months ago, and it was like the bold choices, even if they're bad ones, are the interesting ones.
Yeah.
So like you start getting more comfortable. Making riskier choices, and maybe part of that is also just us getting more mature as players. And I feel I've read it somewhere, and I think Matt Mercer said it, talking about Amy Carrero, who played a character in Exandria Unlimited, and she was a brand new player. She didn't know the rules very much, so she was just going, hey, can I do this? And Matt was like, yeah, just like letting her kind of like come up with all these ideas. And he was talking about how there's kind of a spectrum of players when you first start, where like you get really creative when you first start, and then you get further into the rules and you get so bogged down by the rules that you feel boxed in, and then as you mature, you're just like, I'm just gonna go crazy and I'm gonna wait for the DM to tell me no.
Yeah, I could see that.
And I kind of feel like I'm starting to edge into that in a very Mandy fashion.
I have gotten better myself as a person with like confrontation and being able to talk and voice my opinions and voice my feelings as an actual person through doing it as a pretend character. Which makes sense because, I mean, someone who's, we brought it before, I'll use that as an example again, someone who's on stage, like you can gain a lot of confidence that way, whether you're acting or singing or dancing, or someone who's in a sport or whatever. This is another branch off of that, really, performing. And so it's just really helped me in that way, like in real life situations. Part of those being like when, and I think we briefly talked about it or mentioned it last campaign, we had a little bit of some
we had a kerfuffle.
We did a kerfuffle. That's a good idea. And it took us a little bit to like figure it out and work through it, but we did, for the better. And like that, I don't know, like at first it was rough for me to like, oh my gosh, how do I do this? How do I communicate like this way? And I wasn't taught this. And it really helped. And so like now I feel good, a lot better doing that. In real life, it's like Bluey. For real life.
For real life.
So that would definitely be an advantage to playing like a TTRPG. And then like if you're gonna do it with your spouse or your significant other, like, I mean, you could add any of these positives to that, and it's just
and in real life, very very few people get to like actually sword fight their spouse.
That's really fun.
You know, or maybe a lot of people do, and I'm just not privy to that party. Sometimes I have forgotten to heal him though, because I've been so conscious of not doing what he did accidentally and only healing me in campaign 1. I've been like, I can't only heal Jason.
Oh, so funny.
Because he wasn't doing it on purpose.
No, he wasn't.
He was just like paying attention to me.
Which makes sense because you're his wife, so
I'm cute.
Makes sense. You are cute.
You hit on something that's really interesting though. One of the benefits of tabletop RPG is you get to like learn social skills in a spot that maybe you haven't been, because like nobody's parents are perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So there are times where you don't see behavior role modeled appropriately, all those things, and you don't get to learn how to do it. Tabletop RPG and roleplay and things, and just role-playing things in general, is used in therapy all the time.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Tabletop RPGs are being used in therapy groups.
Yeah.
Because there's something interesting that happens wherein, yes, you have... I'm playing Deva, an elf. Mandy is not actually Deva the elf, so I get to infuse some parts of her that... or some characteristics that I really would love to have, but maybe I don't feel like I have. But I also, there's me in there.
Mhm.
But there's a removed part, right? So like Jacqueline cannot like Deva, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Right? Like I can do things as Deva or like play around with a certain behavior or communication style. And if a random NPC in the middle of the city that we're walking through doesn't like it, I don't care. It doesn't actually impact me.
It's true.
Right?
Yes.
So then I can be like, okay, well, what was wrong with that behavior? Where could we have like, when could I have not been obnoxious or something like that, right? Or it's interesting because then you also, I think you get real-time feedback that you wouldn't necessarily get from your, like, I feel like you've given me clues and feedback as Jacqueline that maybe you wouldn't necessarily give me as Caitlin.
Yeah.
When we're playing, because that is that safe space, right? Of like, you're being Jacqueline, the really cool Dampier, and I'm Deva, the crocheting druid maternal elf on the sidelines with your snacks.
With your snacks.
But I think there's so many benefits to playing D&D and or even just any tabletop RPG. It's just so fun. You get to stretch a different part of your imagination and just your brain because you're learning different skills. You're thinking strategically and creatively.
Yeah.
There's even like some big Fortune 500 companies are utilizing tabletop RPG as team builders because it does create this safe space and like
That's really cool.
There's lots of really cool things that are being done here. And I think also it's just fun. It's a fun date night. Like this started off as like us having like a group date, right?
It turned into a weekly for the last
thing
4 years.
For the last 4 years, yeah.
Something that like we all look forward to, and like you said, it really is, with the exception of one of our players who his wife doesn't play. She's played like once or twice with us. We're trying to get her really honestly like a big double date. I feel like that we do, and whoa, puberty hit again. But like it's so much fun. I was actually just talking to some girls in my congregation who my birthday was last Friday. And we were talking about my birthday or somehow, I don't know what, and everything that my husband had done for my birthday. And then I told them about how we play Dungeons and Dragons together. And they were like, what is that? And I explained it, and they're like, oh yeah, I think I've heard of it. And I'm like, yeah, it's so much fun. We play that together, and we also play like other games together, whether it's we're not really a big we're not really a big board game.
Yeah, it can't be we if only you like it.
No, yeah. And so like over the years I've learned to play some of like computer games with him, which normally I would have had no interest in, which I did never have an interest in until I married him. And I was like, okay, well, we're married. Like I have no problem looking into some of the stuff that he enjoys. Doesn't mean you have to like the same things at all, like not at all. But some of them now I really, really enjoy. D&D being like the biggest one.
Because it's the best.
Because it's the best. And we just have, like Mandy was saying, we have so much fun. And you're playing with your spouse or your significant other. And as I was telling these women about it, they were like, oh my gosh, that sounds like so much fun. And I was like, it is. And they're like, can you do that with your spouse? I was like, yeah. And it was like a shocker to them. Like I don't know, like you could do that.
I feel like a lot of people just think D&D is like still in the satanic panic era. Or really, I promise you, I'm wearing my pajamas and screaming at dice that aren't rolling appropriately, and we're just playing pretend together. Okay?
Yeah. It's just so much fun. So like
you get to be creative and like get to do a whole bunch of like fun stuff. Like it's just fun to get to do that. And then also Chris gets to stretch his creative muscles because Chris is again phenomenal and created this whole world. And like you guys got to like create Lucenport, the city we're in right now, together, which sounds like the most fun date night ever. I was talking to Jay about it, and I was like, that sounds so fun.
It was.
Like I want to do that.
Date night too. Yeah.
Like
we literally sat down and went through all the things, like the foods, everything. We actually also, that's how we came up with with Jacqueline because I was trying to think of my new campaign character.
Anyway, I think the possibilities are endless on like the fun things you get to do with your spouse here. There's also like 2-person RPG games. Jay and I have one called The Last Gasp that we really enjoy. We are board game people, so we also play board games together. We've tried to get Chris to play board game with us. He won't do it, but that's okay. We love him anyway.
I'll do it.
We've done that.
Yes, we have.
But there's so many, like, it's just fun. I think it's just that's the main benefit. You're having fun together and you make connections, you make memories. Like, we all still laugh about like ridiculous things that happened 4 years ago in game. Like, you get to do so many cool things, and then also my husband and I inevitably end up flirting together. We haven't done it this much in this campaign.
Yeah. Very impressed.
Jay's hilarious in that he's like, why isn't Dava flirting with Gideon? I'm like, you told me you didn't, like, what do you want from me? He's like, I don't, what's going on? I was like,
you're a giant cow. Or
you are a minotaur, actually. I'm not saying Dave is against it, but what I am trying to share is that it's really fun to kind of flirt with your spouse and fall in love with your spouse in like a different way. Like, that's super fun. And then, like, I don't know about, this is probably super dumb, but like under our Christmas tree every year, like Ariadne still like leaves a gift for Eldarion, and Eldarion still brings one for Ariadne. It's a whole thing, and it's so dumb. Oh, do you? I love that.
Yeah. We do the same thing, and we've added like our other characters as well. So it'll be like,
we do that too.
Yeah.
It'll be like Maeve and Rhysand, and then like
oh, it's so funny.
I didn't do Feyre and Cyrus last year because I was like, we still don't know if they're together, actually. And I think
a platonic gift.
Feyre's not going to do that. Absolutely not. Well, I think we've talked so much about how awesome D&D is, and you know, guys, like, you just need to play. Or you know what? Even if you're not playing tabletop RPGs, you need to find something fun to do with your spouse or your significant other. It's a fun way to connect. I can't recommend it enough. But you could also play games like Katie's sharing. Jay and I do reading dates. Chris and Katie think it's really weird, but we'll just like lay in bed and read together.
I think it's cute. He thinks it's weird. And actually, we did it two times, I think, with a book that we got. See? And
it's cute.
He was the one who suggested it. I didn't rub it down his face. But
I'm gonna. But anyway, just, spend some time with your spouse. It's super fun. It's a great way to do it.